Well, Henshaw here again, your friendly local constitutional counselor from California. And this video is going to deal with the subject of foreclosures and how absolutely corrupt it is. It may be the worst thing out there that the justice system is doing to a lot of American people. I mean, you understand why. I mean, you know, when you go in there with one of these damn fucking foreclosure things, it's a directed verdict of guilt. No matter what you do or how you attempt to do it, ain't you're out of there. You're going to learn why that you have everything in the world you can do. You have real property rights there, even if the justice system doesn't want you to know it. You know, it's a bit of a story about that, but you'll learn it. It's not that hard. And when you understand that and understand that you're not in a judicial court, no trial by jury, no common law courts, no lawful elections, no nothing. None of this can happen because you would have had to have made a voluntary, knowing, and intelligent waiver of rights to go from a common law trial by jury with jury members that can rule on the facts and the law to an executive administrative fucking tribunal in which there's nothing you can do. New York bankers control all of it. And that's what has to change. And this is an especially important area in which it must change. Because when you sign on, they don't tell you, for example, you're volunteering into what you'll learn is federal, regional, martial law rule. You've joined the armed forces and you're subject to the military jurisdiction of the government, the de facto government in Washington, D.C. They never mentioned that, did they? And here you are, and you think, that you're domiciled in a sovereign, independent state and have creator endowed inalienable rights. And the amazing part about that is that you do if you know what you're doing and how to do it. And that's my job to teach you those things. It's not that hard. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. It'll change your lives. It'll make things better for your children and your posterity. We have rights. You just have to know it. And you are going to learn that you are, in fact, domiciled in what you'll be instructed is a foreign state judicial district. And these fucking foreclosure things, they can't even do effective service of process on you, let alone get you into one of their courts, aka executive administrative tribunals. And yet, at one and the same time, you have a black robe bastard comes storming in there and pretends he's a judicial officer in an executive tribunal. Can you say separation of powers? A major point in the U.S. Supreme Court right now. So, in other words, what we do is we don't go in there and cite due process and equal protection of the non-existent 14th fucking War Amendment. No, that's the biggest loser there possibly is. You have no rights that they're bound to respect. And yet those racist framers established a federated Republican form of government of defined and limited powers in which we had all of those rights. And we want it back and we can get it back in this window of opportunity to do it. And Trump knows it. I'm pretty sure Bondi does. And I know the current conservative justices do. And when they get some younger ones on the court, Trump appointees, they can really move forward. But this is going to be cataclysmic when they rule the 14th Amendment unconstitutional. But isn't that too bad? It should never have been there. And in fact, it never has been there. You're going to learn all about that too. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. And we can just do some things here working together and change the course of American history. And it says to other nations out there, look what we just did here. Now, you don't have the Constitution we had, but you can do the same thing in your own nation. You stand up and invoke your rights. And you have them. They don't want you to know that. Just like they don't want you to know them here. And they have it well over 100 years. Going back to July 28th, 1868, a date that will live in infamy. You'll learn all about that too. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. But this is what we can do and should be doing to get out from under. And even if the Supreme Court doesn't act officially for the immediate moment, they have the option here to pick up the phone and tell the person they're calling, often the territorial governor, by the way, and you'll learn all about that, to make the case go away. And oh, by the way, get your checkbook out while you're at it, because your friend that contacted us is going to have a lot of claims against you for acts of treason in the Constitution. You're going to learn all about that too. We have sovereign, independent rights here, and we need to start getting out there and asserting them now. And you teaching your children and your posterity how to do the same thing so they never get in these situations. That's how exciting it is, and how good a job those framers did back in the day, 250 years ago. Wow. And it benefits all of us. And as I said, to be sure, the sovereign body politic, right or wrong, good or bad, free, white, male, 21. We could add female to that now. That's an open question, but nevertheless, and that's a white racist uh, thing, but that's the sovereign body politic. And there is a lawful way that can be changed. You'll learn all about that too. But when we get back to the original government, now everybody has creative, endowed, inalienable rights. So you get these 8 law enforcement thugs that go out there and shoot jail and walk on the back 48 times during the course of a traffic stop that the court didn't have jurisdiction, and nobody gets indicted for involuntary manslaughter. In our common law republic, all of these thugs are on death row for first degree murder. That's the kind of changes we can see, and it's going to stop all this nonsense. And they're even starting to do it now to white people, which in its own political way is worse because they're the members of the sovereign body politic. But recent events in Minneapolis, now they're starting to do that. And it doesn't overtly mean that the lives of white people are innately more valuable. But if we're the sovereign body politic and the martial law thugs think they can do that to us, there is no limit. And that's what we have to work together to fight and to stop. And we have a window of opportunity here. It can be done. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. And best thing you've ever done for your children and your posterity. And another thing, by the way, you can mention, and maybe get out there and solicit some help for me, we have to get into the education system because they're not teaching jack shit now. And they weren't when I was in school all those decades ago outside of Washington, D.C., when, much better education in a lot of ways, but not this one. Never learned a thing. My life would have been different at that age if I had known this then. I came upon it, thank goodness, later on, and I've got it now, and I want to share it with you. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com, and put some of the real issues in there, jurisdictionally speaking. And that's going to make big changes, and we'll get to the point where they're going to start to leave you alone because they're not subject to any of the laws they think are on the books, quote unquote. And when you understand that at least white people, if not everyone else, is not represented anywhere in this government, you will understand why. Where is the consent of the governed here? Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. And like I say, we start asserting the right issues. And oh, by the way, now what I've learned with foreign state judgments, we'll be picking up on this too, is I can do orders for you as a judge of the vacant foreign state court. And that type of order from a judicial court is going to have full faith and credit. Article 4, Section 1, from Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon. That's how good this is. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. You'll learn a lot more. You're going to love what you're doing here. And you're going to wonder why they didn't teach you anything in a mandatory public education system. But we can fix it. And by the way, that's something you can help me to find sponsors that I need some investment capital. One of the first things I want to do is a series of videos, better quality than these, that can be used by people that homeschool their children to start out with. And that's going to catch fire and maybe break into the mainstream public education system too, that they should be doing this And it's all basically easy stuff. I don't use hardly any legalese, no, nothing like that. It's just everyday language to understand what's going on, and why we're in a principal and agent relationship that the de facto National Socialist government thinks is guardian and ward, or maybe even master and slave. Truth in advertising. Send me an email, humanincourt@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe, tell your friends, get the word out. The sooner we start acting with the right issues and the right approach, the quicker we make changes for you, your children, and your posterity. Thank you.